The deck is updated on the Stream Decker page. And this one, for people who haven't seen it before, this deck is effectively all cantrips, ways to just like draw cards and draw through your deck. If you're not familiar with Magic jargon, cantrip refers to a card that draws a card. And then eventually we get this Primal Amulet flipped over into a Primal Wellspring, which in turn lets us copy our Nexus of Fates over and over and over again. Eventually, once you've taken every turn for the rest of the game, you cast a copy of Chromium and attack them to death. But usually, people give up before you get to the point where you actually cast the Chromium. So it's pretty rare that you actually attack for lethal with this deck. Usually people sit there and let you take turns. You need to start referring to yourself as the fun vampire, where instead of blood, you trade other people's happiness. Alright, let's dive in, shall we? Sounds really good. One of the things I really like about this deck is that this deck doesn't mulligan very often. Because this deck has so many cantrips in it, basically any hand with lands and cantrips is a keep. If your Chromium gets Thought Erasured, we have a copy of Memorial to Folly to pick it back up with. Departed Deckhand. So it could be a blue aggressive deck, which can actually be a harder matchup for us. Departed Deckhand likely implies my opponent's not playing traditional mono blue, because Departed Deckhand cannot have Curious Obsession placed onto it. No, my avatar changes at every possible screen. It's like aggressive blue-black pirates. I'm gonna bin this. We're looking for sweepers and amulets at this point. What do you do if they settle to take out Chromium? You just don't let them settle to take your Chromium? You have a counter spell, or you discard cards out of their hand? Alright. Well, I'm glad we have Radical Idea to turn one of these lands into something useful. We'll shoot. It's okay. They've only got 4 power in play. Search for Azcanta is going to increase our average card draw here a little bit, so hopefully we can find a sweeper here. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now, just in case we draw a Discovery or a 2-mana Sorcery Speed cantrip. Magic's an incredibly low variance game. So this deck explicitly does not play Teferi, and that is a conscious choice. It's not a budget decision. The reason why this deck doesn't play Teferi is because we don't have ways to protect Teferi. This isn't a control deck, it's a combo deck. This is a deck that's looking to gain life to keep itself alive, and then sometimes play sweepers if it can't keep the board, if it's gonna die before it starts comboing. I think I have to bin that and just look for one of our Cleansing Novas. We're technically not dead on board. They're only attacking for 7, but my hand just doesn't do anything. It also lets me flip this, which is nice. So if they don't have a counterspell in hand, we get 5 looks at one of our 2 main deck Cleansing Novas. Yeah, could someone do me a favor? There's 1,700 people here. Could one of you please go post a thread on Reddit and let them know that the shuffler must be broken? Because obviously, if the shuffler was random doesn't include clumps of things. Everybody knows random doesn't include clumps of things. Defending you, Shuffler. I was going out on a limb and doing my random includes clumps rant, and you had to go and do me dirty. You had to do me dirty, didn't you, Shuffler? You had to do it. Brave Earth with the brand new Prime support. Thank you very much. I know there's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. All right, that was just good television, chat. Okay, Magic Arena realized that we're streaming, and they knew that that was going to be good television. All right, so I know we just got dumpstered there, not drawing any spells, but I think I actually don't sideboard anything here. Usually you board in the extra copy of Settle the Wreckage against aggressive decks, but my opponent's aggressive deck has copies of Siren Storm Tamer in it, which makes Settle the Wreckage much, much worse. It's karmic justice for all the lands you've murdered. A screenshot lacks context there because, like, hitting 4 lands with the Azcanta is, like, not a big deal. The fact that we, like, hit 4 lands after flooding hard was, like, extra funny. Once all the cards are spoiled from GRN, yeah, we're going to update lots of different decks. In fact, if you look at the deck queue on my website, you'll see there is a new standard section, which includes deck lists in there that people have already donated for me to update or build once the new set releases. This is the keep. Yeah, a lot of people, when people think of random, and this is, it feels weird to say this, right? Because it's very inverted. When people talk about random, what their brain actually thinks of is uniformly distributed. They don't actually think random is random. Here we go again. Here we go again. Should have known again. Do 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 do. Yep. And, like, the funny part is, as people who are gamers who, like, spend a lot of time around, like, cards and dice and stuff like that, it's very easy to realize that, or to forget that people who game are a little bit more likely to understand statistics than people who don't. As someone who's taught statistics classes at, you know, like introductory stats classes as a college course before, a lot of people are really, really bad at stats. It's a very abstract concept that's difficult for many people to get their head around. Yep. So, as your random means that as your tests extend to infinity, they'll eventually be uniform. But what people take things like that to mean is you'll hear the gambler's fallacy that, like, you're due for something. So, like, someone who hasn't rolled a 6 in a long time thinks they're owed a 6, basically. Good lord. I am just... John Avon better watch out, because I am practicing drawing lands. I'm coming for his job. Holy gosh. Well, at least we fled it out in a bad matchup. And here's the takeaway. At least this was all one match instead of losing 2 individual best of 1 match. Joke's on you, opponent. I ain't got any spells. Ha ha! Look at that. Look at that card advantage. Look at that. Look at that sick card advantage. The old 1 for 0. Sha. All right. We could win the game next turn. If we hit a good string of cantrips, we could flip this amulet and go to town. Yeah, there aren't that many lands in this deck. It actually has a low number of lands for how high the mana curve tends to be because we have so many cantrips. You see so many cards each game that you tend to hit your land drops when you want to. What on God's green earth does that do? Mind Rot? God, that's rude. My lands are supposed to be safe in my hand, opponent. This is a safe place for my lands. We only play 2 Nexus of Fate? Holy crap. Because we only play 2 Nexus of Fate because by the time you're ready to start casting Nexus of Fate, you generally can find one. Our deck is over 30% cards that draw more cards. So our deck finds what it needs most of the time. If you have spells, you're finding the spells you need. So someone at the Wizards of the Coast office right now is just like smashing the screw hogland button. All right, this was arguably one of the better draws in our deck because it triggers our Primal Amulet twice. That's so bad. Cleansing Nova, please. And they could have a negate here. It just like doesn't matter. All right. Yep. All right. Need a Cleansing Nova. I haven't played a land yet this turn, right? And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have enough mana to do these. Even if I draw the land, the amulet has flipped over, right? Yeah. And we're dead. Awkward. Not a particularly good showing there. That's fine. In the words of the greatest poet of our generation, we're just gonna shake it off and move along to the next match. How are we doing, folks? Welcome. Thanks for hanging out here today. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I'm a full-time streamer and content producer here on Twitch. I'm here playing Magic 30, 40, 50 hours a week. If you enjoy my stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel. My subscribers are the people that keep me employed here full-time. I wouldn't be here day in and day out without their wonderful support. Past subscribing, you can also support my stuff by checking out some of my very wonderful sponsors. Harry's Razors would love to help you get that close, clean shave using code Jeff Hoagland at bit.ly/HoagleShave. You can save $5 on your brand new starter kit with them. Remember, just because you enjoy playing the degenerate decks doesn't mean you need to look like it. Neo provides wonderful candy-flavored protein bars. Using code Hoagland at bit.ly/HoagleBar, you can save 10% on all of your orders there with them. Hurley Burley Studios does wonderful professional Magic the Gathering altars. They do border extensions and full art alterations. You can find high resolutions of her wonderful work at hurleyburleystudios.com. Using code Jeff10, you can save 10% on your orders there with them. And of course, my altars are protected by none other than my BCW Elite Guard sleeves. Using code Jeff10 at bcwsupplies.com, you can save 10% on sleeves, deck boxes, binders, and all sorts of fantastic stuff there with them. Thanks everyone for hanging out here today, by the way. There's a lot of other great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch, and thanks for dropping in here. Remember, if you're one of my regulars, I am going to be off all day tomorrow, and I am going to be off Friday during the day. My wife and I are closing on a new house tomorrow, so we're going to be moving for the next 2 days. Hopefully, Friday night, I will be all set up to stream from my new setup. Because these are just laying around. Thank you, Togo Bogle. Holy crap. Is this more spells than we had all last match? This might be more spells than we had all last match. My new office is going to be in the basement, Jin. It's actually a proper basement in the new house. So the current house I live in is a bi-level. So I've basically taken up the family room in my current house with my stream. Let's throw a spell party this match. I agree, Tom. Thanks for the biddies. I'll leave that there. This hand could, in fact, be anything. Yeah, the new house is actually a proper basement. Well, this is still the same room as the screaming took place in. My children are just at daycare now since I do this full time. I'm gonna bin that. We're just looking for like more white sources than an amulet. Perfect. Did you get a good one, Nivik? I think jamming the amulet here is pretty correct. They can't play Vivian next turn. I'm pretty likely to be able to flip it on my next turn. Just need a blue source. I'm gonna keep that because this is gonna make me another one. I am not going to be at the CT on Sunday, unfortunately, or Saturday. Just too much going on with the move. I need to stream a little bit extra over the weekend since I'm missing Thursday. Perfect. Well, shoot. I think I'm supposed to flip the amulet over just so they can't kill it. Usually the opponent's deck doesn't have trophies in the main, or if they do, they only have one. And I really don't want this to get Vivian'd. I'm gonna pass because they might attack around to settle here. Jay Sizzle, thank you for the 3-month resub. I appreciate the continued support. Welcome. Welcome back. Oh, and now that they've played this pre-combat, I can actually settle them. So the updated cost is actually easy to see. It doesn't update until you mouse over it usually. I think you could get one of the streaming so their streaming contracts, McCarver, are only for people that play in their tournaments. So like all the people that have the Wizards of the Coast streaming contracts are folks that were like playing in Magic Grand Prix and Pro Tours and stuff like that. They were for their top ranked players. They're not entertainer or content producing streamer contracts. They are contracts for people who were playing Magic at the highest level. No, they weren't contracts for people making stuff on Twitch already. Hi, hello. Their contracts were explicitly for existing Magic players to get them started streaming, basically. Like, none of the people who picked up the streaming contracts were existing established streamers. Existing established streamers. What's going on, Bappy? I think I'm just gonna double discovery here. And then, like, I have Settle the Wreckage to not die this turn. Then we can maybe get comboing next turn if we find a Nexus of Fate. I keep this other discovery, I think. This deck is easily the best Settle the Wreckage deck in the format. And the reason I say that is because if they attack too little into this Settle the Wreckage, I get to Revitalize and live. And if they attack too much, I get to blow them out. So like here, they're actually only attacking for, this is a 7-13, so I just get to go ahead and Revitalize and go to 15 and not be dead and activate my Azcanta. The Settle is from the Primal Amulet. You can see there when I moused over the Settle, it went back to the correct cost. I have no idea, Nivik. And I mean, like, honestly, do I need WotC support? I just picked up the Tempo Storm contract. All of my wonderful subs, y'all have kept me employed for so long. Like, I'm here regardless of if there's money from Wizards of the Coast, right? All right, so this is a small they understand what's up. They do. They ain't new at this. All right, so in this matchup, I like bringing in the last Primal Amulet and the Nexus of Fate. I like trimming these Rituals of Rejuvenation. I'm gonna try bringing in Spyglass and an Ixalan's Binding as extra ways to turn off Vivian, because Vivian can be really annoying, and like Ritual of Rejuvenation is like kinda clunky. Let's give this a go. Sometimes I just bring in the 2 cards and like leave 2 Rejuvenation in, but going down to 0 might be worthwhile too. Whoa, Ross with the brand new Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed with that there. The combo with this deck is eventually you take endless turns with Primal Wellspring plus Nexus of Fate. I agree, McCarver, that they are not good at leveraging their content producers, but like the initial MPL, the Magic Premier League, with their professional players, that's a step in the right direction. So maybe they'll start recognizing people that stream more. Yeah, you have people like me who give you Twitch dollars to ensure you can eat sandwiches whenever you please. Who needs stinky WotC? Thanks for the biddies, Lil Beppy. I think not settling there was wrong. You would have gotten guaranteed 3 creatures, and now I don't think so, Chalky Chalkson. And I think it's correct to not settle there for the reason we just saw, which was that I ended up hitting my Nexus of Fate, which is a good thing for me. So this is awkward. If I keep the planes here and bin the Nexus, the way Nexus works is what's called a replacement effect. So my deck will shuffle the Nexus before I draw the planes. The also awkward thing about people getting streaming money from the MPL is that the way the FCC works in disclosing sponsorships is those people have to put hashtag sponsored on every tweet and stream that they do, basically, because they're getting sponsored to do those streams all year. No, they've given up 0 details on how you will actually be able to get into the MPL. Well, this feels real bad. Kinda punished for not just taking the planes. What's going on, Cold Sip? We put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it, and then shuffle it into your deck. I'm pretty sure... Jackal Girl, are you still here in chat? I'm pretty sure this shuffles before you draw from Discovery.
I didn't
like 9, it doesn't. I'm pretty sure that that's how that works. That's how replacement effects work. They happen right away. Even mid-resolution. Replacement means if this would happen, instead do this. So your judge ruling was wrong. It's not a trigger, it's a replacement effect. That is correct. So the judge that told you that over the weekend told you incorrectly. Yeah, that's what replacement means. Replacement means as this thing happens, do this other thing instead. All right, let's test out the Ixalan's Binding. I have no idea, Perps. I would assume they get to keep their Twitch revenue, but I don't know the details of their contracts. Land. Oh, that feels real bad. They get to take my Settle the Wreckage. The good news is this Revitalize means I don't die this turn. them having to give revenue to Watsu would be a seriously weird contract. Not really. Not necessarily. I mean, like, Watsu's paying them a pile of money. There might be some kind of split too. It could be that the streamer gets all of it, but there could become some kind of split as well. I honestly have no idea. I'm not familiar with any of their contracts. Probably getting duressed again next turn. Okay. Would like to draw land. I'm gonna be greedy and try and hit a land here. It's really important that I hit my land drops every turn. I mean, that makes sense, Andrew. He's the only one. He's the only one that streams on it, right? So, if they surveil to a duress here, we are dead. And this is the best way to use your duresses against this Esper deck. You want to use your duresses before they cast a Settle. That would save them. Yeah, I agree. I would go to 2 trying to find a duress that takes my Settle here. Goodbye, friends. They find an Assassin's Trophy to get their binding back. I'm gonna take the land. I think getting my 7th land is better than a guaranteed Cleansing Nova here.
Come to me.
Happy Bezo Day, Watakus. Thanks for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I wonder if MPL players are required to stream Arena or if Magic Online counts towards this obligation. I have no idea. That is an interesting question though, Beetle. Urvik, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime resub as well. Thanks for the 2 months. Welcome back. Great. Let's cast Explore. Alright, so I can cast Opt. That is not a Cleansing Nova. Cast Explore. So these Explorers getting to untap my lands and draw a card are not meaningless, because like now I can Revitalize plus still Chromium this turn. This is our second match with the deck. First match, second match. First real match though. So the first match was kind of a comedy. So they can attack here, but we're not dead because Chromium flashes in and blocks the Doom Whisperer, which is nice. Yep. I think we probably can't win this game anymore. Yeah, if they don't play their other Doom Whisperer out, we can kill them by attacking, right? Nexus of Fate's actually a really good draw here too, because it gives us multiple attacks. In fact, there's a good chance I was supposed to hold my other Nexus of Fate. Like the last Nexus of Fate I played, I probably didn't need to play. So like Nexus is lethal here. I don't win, chat. They have they just kill me on the backswing. We're dead. This blocks. This becomes a 1-1 when it becomes unblockable. Alright, on to game 3. The Ixalan's binding was actually pretty good there. You can find my thoughts on the 4-mana Wrath and a bunch of other cards in my article on Cool Stuff Inc. today. I think I'm fine with how I boarded. I think I messed up, and the last Nexus of Fate I cast just to untap and draw a card was wrong, and I should have held that as a way to attack with Chromium twice. I wasn't paying attention to how low their life total was, and just being able to double tap them with Chromium. So that was a mistake on my part. In the nicest way possible, one of the things you want to break yourself of is that thinking that just because a deck has some overlapping spells, it's the same deck. And I hear that a lot with what I do here when I'm streaming. I would tell you that if someone is playing a deck that has these colors and some of these same cards, but is playing cards like Teferi and you said counter spells and counters, that it's a fundamentally different deck than what I'm playing here today. One of the important things to remember is that while Magic decks are 60 cards, you only have like 35 spells in them. So if you change 2 4-ofs in a deck list, that means you're changing 20% of the spells in the deck. You change 12 cards, you've changed a third of the spells in the deck. It's very, very common for decks to have some overlap in the cards that they're playing, but still be fundamentally different decks or even archetypes a lot of the time. I'm holding on to my Opt tier intentionally because I want to play it after I get Amulet into play to stack counters up on this Amulet so I can flip it over. So looking to dodge land Brontodon and Assassin's Trophy here. They can't cast Vivian for one more turn yet, which is nice. Looks like they have a trophy. Yep. Grab a Plane Seer as my third white source since I already have another blue. Blue da ba dee da ba da ba dee da ba da ba dee da ba da hi. Can I ask you to play my deck at the end of the day or a weekend? No, usually I don't do that except for big donations, Captain Command. So I guess it depends on how much you sent in with your deck. If I do random scheduling for everyone, it just becomes too hard to keep track of. You make changes to the main if I were playing best of one. I don't think so. This main deck is set up pretty well for aggro. ASDF Becker, thank you for the Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here. I'm gonna bin the Memorial, keep the Amulet. This is dangerous though, because I can't bin my Chromium now, because that's my way to get him back. I'm actually not gonna play the Amulet here, because my opponent could have Vivian mana next turn, and if they do play Vivian, I want to binding it before I stick the Amulet. Yeah, the new Instant Explorer is gonna make Amulet very scary. I agree with that assessment. No, I'm only on one Memorial in this build, Tom. I got tired of drawing tapped lands. Alright, putting Chromium on the bottom of my deck is good. I did not Python. I've been working all day. Usually I tweet about it in the evening. Alright, they found what they're looking for. So I assume this is going to be like a Vivian. Alright, I mean, we kind of drew those. Yep. I didn't play my land because I might want to discard it to Radical Idea.
Meant to be contained.
I intentionally did not play my land. I should have mentioned that. I think we're probably dead. Alright. Live to take another turn. Instead of me telling you your idea is bad, tell me why your idea is good. Form a coherent thought. Say, we should Nexus here because it's good to do because. I'd rather have a discussion rather than me just tell you your idea is bad. Or tell you your idea is good. Maybe your idea is good, and you have a good reason to do that. I'd recommend changing that password for Get Freeman. Welcome to a live one, Bridge for Soup. Going on a duress hunt. Yep. To draw an extra answer, and I chose to Radical Idea. That's a good question. So I opted to Radical Idea because I feel like if I'm going to be able to win this game, it's going to involve having a Nexus of Fate to be able to combo off. So while you're right that casting Nexus of Fate gives me one extra draw with untapped mana towards finding an answer to not die that turn, I feel like having a better chance to be able to actually win the game as opposed to just spinning my tires and not dying makes me better off. So I think what I would refer to it as is playing the Nexus of Fate there is like playing to not lose as opposed to playing to win. It's a lot of amulets. This is one of the reasons why there's only so many amulets in my what's it called, my main deck. I don't play 4. Probably dead. Hey, what's going on, Chef Seth? Thanks for the tip. Why isn't my event list updating? For some Turbo Dredge, sounds good. Yeah, someone had asked earlier how I felt about Nyan with the $69 donation. Legacy Parfait as discussed. Apologies in advance. Sounds good. As a heads up, I don't think I'm doing more Legacy until next week, but I will definitely get that added. the more I play this deck after playing some more Bant Nexus, I think the folks that are asking, like, is this deck better or worse than Bant Nexus? I think the folks that were saying they think this deck is worse than Bant Nexus on average, I think they're correct. I think having the fogs as a more powerful way to stay alive is probably a little bit better. Yeah, keep this on the draw. Got an opt and a land. My articles are linked on my website. There's a lot of stuff in my Twitch bio. Uh-oh. Sounds like the audio's out of whack. We'll have to give it a kick. If you want to suggest cards for a deck that we're playing, I'd encourage you to be familiar with the stream rules. You had to click pass to get into my stream. It'll save you getting timed out. Not doing a full ad plug, just restarting Arena here so the audio's not all Mr. Roboto. I do cube drafts for $100. Usually I play formats I'm not willing to play. I don't normally play for a $100 donation. The sponsors are wonderful. The sponsors love when Arena goes Mr. Roboto. Probably want to anticipate this turn to try and hit my land drop as best as possible. Looks like we're playing against a control deck. Alright, Discovery gives me my best chance to the land next turn. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted for Christmas, chat. 2 lands and 2 white sources. So playing through counters game 1 can be tough for this deck. Usually the best way you fight through counter spells is your opponent either taps out for something stupid and then you get them, or you end step play a Nexus of Fate and then have 2 turns to play through.
Let's slow this.
I can't predict the future, Mr. Michelin. So I have no idea if the decks that are going to be good against this deck get better or worse. My opinion is always wait and see. Anybody trying to tell you that they know what's going on, they're just trying to get you to click on their articles. They're just lying to try and get some clicks. Don't listen to those folks. Everybody's got to wait and see. I have never once had an issue reconnecting on Arena. Always reconnects up just fine. This deck isn't an answer deck, especially game 1. Post board, we have some controlling tools, but this is a combo deck. So we don't answer things, we just kind of try and do our thing. Discovery is interesting. Guess they've been one of those earlier. Yeah, you don't get that long to reconnect. So like, it feels like we're behind here, but the question of how far behind we are depends on like which half of my opponent's deck they've drawn here. This is game 1, so my opponent's deck definitely has a bunch of like seal aways and settle the wreckages and other stuff like that to just interact with creatures. That's like not what we're doing here. And Dispersal can also be okay sometimes. If you think a black spell is a good addition to this deck, I'd encourage you to read Frank Karsten's Mana Math article, because you have a pretty big misunderstanding of like what constitutes having enough colors to cast something. I split my time standing and sitting while I play. Would I consider playing best of one on stream regularly? Nope. I'm not going to play best of one on stream for the same reason I don't play limited on stream. It's not a format of Magic that I enjoy. Best of one is fundamentally a different format. It's different from best of 3 standard, and I don't enjoy it. Card is flash, right? Yep. You have a negate. I've watched your content for way too long, not throw a little something at you. Bridge for Soup, thanks for the biddies, I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Wednesday wherever you're at. Alright, let's move along with our lives. We're not going to beat a Teferi Ultimate from there. So we also have some medium cards in our deck game 1 here. So we get to board in a bunch of useful stuff. We get to cut a bunch of poopy sweepers and cards that gain us some life for no reason. So we have a little bit harder time getting the full combo going because we are trimming cantrips, but we get to bring in some other high impact cards that they do have to interact with, which is nice. Game 1 is difficult, Nuka-Cola, and then this is a great example of why I think best of one's a rancid format of Magic is game 1 we have a hard time winning, but I don't have to just say, oh, I can never beat blue-white control, because best of 3 Magic gives me a chance to change my deck post board and have a chance in most places that I care about having a chance. I get to cut all of these really mediocre cards and bring in these other better cards that like have text boxes. I think anybody saying all of Magic should be saying all of Magic should be best of 1 is like me saying all of Magic should be Legacy, or all of Magic should be Modern, or all of Magic should be standard best of 3. It's just idiotic, and it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what makes Magic good. The thing that makes Magic the great game that it is today is that Magic isn't a single game mode. Magic is a set of rules that we play a lot of different games using. So, best of 1 and best of 3 are different things, and different people like different things, and that's okay. That's great. I don't have to like best of 1 for other people to enjoy it. I don't have to like limited for other people to enjoy it. You know? Like the formats of Magic that you like, play the formats of Magic that you like, and ignore the ones you don't. Auto Tapper not letting his player unchoke. Jeez. I think I'm gonna keep both of these. Search for Azcanta is great here, and I'm definitely in the market for another land. I really like the Neo bars. In fact, they sent me a couple of boxes to try out before I picked them up as a sponsor, and I actually had to send they had to send me more before I put the ad up on my stream because I had eaten all of them. Lots of people like to talk about Magic and things in life in general in absolutes, and it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, at the end of the day, a lot of things are just like varying shades of gray, and that's fine. Not everything has to be either it is or isn't. Opponent missing some colors here. It's a good turn for them to hit white. Rough. All right, so we're back at parity. Try and find another, well, all right, I guess we're taking a land. Yeah, I wasn't really looking for anything last turn, and like I knew the search for Azcanta was on top of my deck. So like if I use Opt while I know the card that's on top of my deck, I'm like getting less looks technically, right? So I can't cast instants and sorceries this turn, but I get another turn. All right. I'm not sure we can beat that card. That's a sweet piece of sideboard technology. Let's try one more. I think I'm kind of off this deck. This deck felt a little bit. This deck felt much worse than the last couple of times we played Bant Fog. Much worse. Let's try. Let's give it one more try. See if we can go off at least once before we move on to the next one. But this one's felt super clunky today. It's 1 o'clock and I haven't really snacked yet. I'm gonna grab a fruit cup. I guess I had a Neo bar snack. Sure. Arena is like trying to tell us to go play something else. It's like, listen, Jeff, I dropped all of the hints. What are you doing with yourself? Ponza was great as always. The last match for the land destruction deck today was like this 40-minute marathon that was just fantastic. I loved every minute of it. It's not even just so when I have a bad deck I don't want to drop from the event mage. It's more so like a lot of the decks that get submitted, we like make changes to the decks in between the rounds of the thing. So like if I join an event like that, I'm locked into the decks that I've submitted for the entire run, which I'd rather not have it be a thing. No, we played standard land destruction. Alright, this game's going medium, but we're not dead just yet. This Primal Amulet gets to resolve here, and then if we hit a chain of cantrips, we could combo them. It's a good draw. Nah, I think that's just playing too scared, Sushi. I think I need to just like play my cards out. Just like I can't afford to keep another brick on top of my deck. Love to transform this. So I actually think we're pretty favored from here, most likely. Chromium's the win con. There's one copy of Memorial to Folly in our deck. Awesome, Alex Jet. I don't think giving spoilers to big sites at all is silly at all, Python. Especially sites that have non-Magic people that might be interested in, like, I hope they gave them a spoiler that has great artwork. Stuff like that, stuff that can capture people from outside of Magic. Alright, are we finally gonna get to combo today? Or do they have double counter spell? So, this is the start of what comboing looks like, taking extra turns. I actually really like a lot of the Planeswalkers in the new set. I think Kaya's probably a little bit weak, but the other two are quite fantastic. Really, really good designs too. If you want my full thoughts on the 3 new Planeswalkers that have been spoiled, just check out my article on Cool Stuff Inc. I'm gonna keep the extra discovery. So I can't bin this Memorial to Folly, because if I bin the Memorial to Folly, I actually don't have a way to win the game. So this is my way to win the game. Scryfall.com is the best Magic search engine out there. Has lots of filters for different format legality and stuff like that on it. How many cards are in my deck? There's 24 cards in my deck. I think I'm supposed to keep the amulet. And this just like random draw card. Oh, I should have been the planes. That was a mistake. I forgot there was going to be another thing underneath it. So the What's in Standard site shows you what sets are legal, but doesn't show you what cards are legal, which is what that person had asked. And this game has been a fantastic example of why just Disruption doesn't beat combo decks. Like, my opponent had so many discard spells early this game, but they just didn't have a way to capitalize on that disruption and pressure us while they did it. So we like just got to like draw our combo card and eventually get them. Yeah, we want to make sure we board in. Oh wait, what if they take my Chromium?
My power is boundless.
Oh, I can Cleansing Nova it. This is fine. This is fine. My opponent's actually likely dead. They're likely dead. Pretty sure they can't win the game. Yes, Dispersal also works. That is super correct. Nova and Dispersal both do it. So. I think this is an example of a time where Flip Nickel Bolas is in fact not good enough. Waiting main phase would be better, so if it can't plus you copy again. Yeah, maybe. I think we're gonna be in a pretty good spot regardless. There's no guarantee we hit a cantrip, And, like, getting the Nexus into our deck is, like, not unreasonable. Alright, so during my upkeep here, I'm gonna make 2 mana off of these. Put 3 more turns on the stack. Yeah, Primal Amulet is in fact non-legendary. So, the world is our oyster at this point. The only reason they probably haven't conceded is they're not sure how we get our Chromium back, but we'll take care of that in a second. We'll probably get our Chromium back and empty their hand. There's Discovery left in our deck. 1, 2, 3. I'm through all my dispersals. That's sad. All right, I guess I just have to grab my my Cleansing Nova. They did take our Chromium. Draw for the turn. Sadness is basically on the stack. I have 1 copy of Memorial to Folly hiding over here behind these stacked up turns. Behind my giant pile of turns, there is 1 Memorial to Folly. I would like my toy back, please. You cannot have it. And now my deck is so small that I just get to draw Nexus of Fate every turn. So that's how the combo works. We actually hadn't comboed yet today, which felt really bad. So we've been getting beat up a little bit, but that was an example of how we combo. It was also a good example of how we win through my opponent having disruption too. Being able to like take our Chromiums and stuff. The deck is very unique. It's got neat play patterns and lines of play. Do I want a second Chromium or a Negate? I think I'd rather have a Negate. I definitely want to bring in Eldest Reborn in this matchup because my opponent's deck will likely have copies of Unmoored Ego. A lot of people play that in their Grixis deck, so like having alternative win conditions if they take my Chromiums or my Nexuses away is important. Please remember, if you want to make suggestions while we're sideboarding, be constructive and specific. If you want to suggest a card, say, I think this card is good because it's likely better than this other card that you're already playing that you need to board out. The opponent's best card against us post-board is likely Thief of Sanity, which is another reason we bring in all these Ixalan's Binding. If they have discard spell into Thief, they could easily run away with the game. If Bant Fog becomes part of the metagame similar to how it's configured now, I don't think it'll be similar to how it's configured now. I think they'll likely have other tools. Radical Idea is actually a great draw, because it means once they don't play something for us to negate, we can just go ahead and draw a card, which is nice. I think this deck is competitive-ish. I think if you're interested in a dedicated combo deck, the Bant Nexus deck is probably a little bit better than this. And I think the Bant Nexus deck is going to get better tools in the new set than this one is. So take that for what you will. I'm not Radical IDing because I really kind of like all the cards in my hand. I want to hit my land drops. Like, I don't have any bad spells at the moment. Next turn, I can play Primal Amulet with Negate up as well, which is sweet. Yeah, that's true too. Amulet's definitely gonna have a hard time if like main deck artifact removal is something that you have to worry about. Let me Greedium bin that. Try and hit some more cantrips. Not really worried about this 4-3. It's not killing us anytime soon. By the time this is lethal, we should be comboing. Three cards in my bin. I did board out Revitalizes. I'm gonna discard the binding and try and start comboing. I guess I could just Nexus here. Do I want to do that? Maybe I just want to Nexus here. I guess if I get counterspelled, I feel real bad. Doesn't look like they have a counter. Oh, you know what? I should have opted during my upkeep, because if I would have opted in response to this, I could have flipped the search for Azcanta. It's a little thing. Should have put a stop on my upkeep and opted there. Eldest Reborn is really not good. Primal Amulet, I don't need a second copy of at this point. So I'm dead in 2 currently. Alright, that's Nexus of Fate. So I haven't played a land yet this turn, so let's opt looking for a land. Double opt. Perfect. And then next turn during my upkeep, we'll double Nexus. Need to dodge like Unmoored Ego plus Negate. Good catch on my stuff. Someday they'll fix that bug. I really feel like that's a bug that should have had a priority fix. It's pretty obnoxious that it drops away like that. I think this is fine. Yeah, the reason to cast Nexus during my upkeep is because it gives me a chance to redraw Nexus for my turn, which is what I want. It shuffles itself back in. Just want the best possible chance to redraw my Nexus right away. It depends on how the decks are built, Marty. If Nexus decks are actually good, they'll likely have ways to play through Unmoored Ego post-board, which then keeps Unmoored Ego being terrible. Alright, do they have a second counterspell? I guess if they have a second counterspell here, I'm dead. Maybe I'm supposed to wait. Maybe I'm supposed to wait until my main phase, so that way I can negate with this Glacial. Yeah, if they have a negate or a Disdainful Stroke here, I actually lose the game now. Yeah, I think my upkeep was being too cute. Yep, alright, I deserve that. I think I was like huge favorite to win this game. If I had sequenced correctly. I got so focused on getting it back into my deck, I wasn't thinking about counter spells and the ability to play my Negate back. Is there a way to purchase Tempo Storm swag that supports you, Hoagland jerseys? Thank you for the 3-on-3 sub, Yachidi. They don't have jerseys with the new team stuff on it yet. They will at some point. And I mean, like, ultimately, this is one of the things that you need to. That's one of the nice things about playing just the queue, where the only thing that matters is rank. We're not like spewing points or anything like that. Is like ultimately at the end of the day, I don't really care about points and the rank or whatever. It's like really not a big deal. The thing I want to take away from games when I'm playing them is like playing meaningful games of Magic that are interesting and fun, and like learning something and like talking about why that was a mistake and assessing like, oh, okay, so we should be playing around this, and like taking that away is ultimately what I want to be doing. There's a card thing where you type them in. There's a text line where you type in the card name, and it auto-populates with names of actual Magic cards. I'm gonna do this first in case we draw another Negate. It's possible I should wait on this till after I stick this. I've been both of these, just like looking for cantrips and more amulets. No, they'd be official Tempo Storm jerseys, Danon. For the team. I'm just gonna jam this. If I give them more time to draw counter spells or have 3 mana counter spells up, which is like doesn't end well for us. Maybe I should have boarded out these Eldest Reborns. They're like really bad against Rekindling Phoenix. I don't give strong opinions on Magic cards that are in formats that we don't know all the cards of, so wait and see. Patience, Magic players. Patience is a virtue. Just stopped by to re-up my sub, back on the work grind, bump up the new standard aristocrat. Will do, Yachidi. Thanks for the supports, I appreciate the biddies. So hopefully we find a slew of cantrips. We're in a pretty good spot here with the amulet in play. Opponent's deck does not have Bedeviled yet, so they have a pretty hard time taking this out. Did I just keep these? I think I just keep these. I don't think so, Burgle. But I'm not 100% on that. I'll have to ask Dan. Aristocrats refers to an archetype in Magic that tends to use cards that sacrifice other creatures to gain special effects or advantages. I believe the name goes back to Falconwrath Aristocrat during what's it called? In Cartel Aristocrat? Yeah, Cartel Aristocrat. I just want to play bad tempo decks, so I'm excited to play some with the new Dovin ban. He sounds like he's gonna be a great tempo card. Wow! My best friend has turned against me. I didn't cast it on their upkeep because I wanted to be able to take my extra turn immediately. Hey, Croaker, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Alright, well. Nexus, please. Alright. So, you're saying there's a chance. Nexus, please. It didn't work out this time. All right, Revitalize. Revitalize is a close consolation prize. This means I am staying alive, beep 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 beep, staying alive. Do do do. Alright. So, Angrath is gonna take my Chromium.
No fire.
And then, if they don't take my Nexus of Fate, I get to take a bunch of turns here and maybe be okay. This is really bad for us because it shuffles the other one away from the top of my deck. So I lose both of them now. Nexus of Fate, please. Okie doke, perfect. Probably this gives us a strong chance to win the game, especially with the other Primal Amulet in play. Do 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 beep 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 do 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 do. Well, I have another turn here. All right, so how do we feel about Ixalan's Binding, negate my Ixalan's Binding to flip this Primal Amulet over? What do we think of that? Because I'm dead on board regardless, right? Alright, so I've put full control mode on so I can respond to my own spell. And then, so if you hit control plus shift at the same time, you get full control mode, you can respond to your own spell. And I get to start another turn here. Alright, so I drew another Ixalan's Binding, so I look a little stupid. Nexus, please. Alright. Discovery. Alright, Discovery is gonna plow through an incredible number of cards here. So there's 29 cards, and I get to look at 9 of them. Oh, I could have tripped Dispersal. Oh. Maybe I'm supposed to trip Dispersal? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like trying to win the game. Maybe Trip Dispersal. I get Trip Dispersal Cyclonic Rifts their board, but it means I have to stop going. You can't triple Binding. Yeah, like the people that wanted to trip Dispersal, I wouldn't be winning right now if I did that, right? You can always find deck lists for upcoming decks that we're going to be playing later today in my deck queue. Yeah, alright, sweet. So, the Trip Dispersal versus the Discovery is like play to win versus play to not lose. So, I think we're supposed to dig deep. High risk, high reward. You just like win on the spot. Plus, I mean, like, are we really playing the Esper Amulet deck to play conservatively? Like, what are we doing with ourselves? Alright, I think that's going to wrap up for Nexus deck. Well, I think the Nexus deck is sweet and it's doing something really unique. And you can find a primer that I wrote about this deck and the things I like about it on Cool Stuffing from a couple of weeks ago. I do think after playing the Bant Nexus deck some more, I think they're doing similar things. And I think I definitely prefer the Bant Nexus deck to this deck after logging a few games with both. Now we're going to be moving along to the next deck today. I've got 2 more that I want to get